Hello students, welcome back to English class. Today we'll begin with a new poem written by the famous poet of India, who's popularly known as the Nightingale of India or Bharatiya Kokila, that is Sarojini Naidu. And name of the poem is The Bangle Sellers. To tell you about the poem, this poem glorifies the idea of Indian womanhood. In the poem, the bangle seller is trying to convince the buyers the spiritual and symbolic importance of bangles in traditional Indian setup. No Indian widow is supposed to wear bangles. The wearing of bangles is suggestive of happiness, peace, and prosperity. The newly wed wear bangles of different hues from those worn by the unmarried girls. Each stanza is in fact it deals with each stages of Indian woman's life, like a virgin girls, an expectant bride, and as a mature matriarch. So now let's begin with the poem. The Bangle Sellers, written by Sarojini Naidu. Bangle sellers are we who bear a shining loads to the temple fair. Who will buy this delicate bright, rainbow-tinted circles of light, lustrous tokens of radiant lives for happy daughters and happy wives? So this is what the bangle sellers are saying. Bangle sellers are we who wear. They are introducing we are the bangle sellers. And we are the people who bear, who carries a shining loads to the temple fair. And we are the ones who carries shining loads to the temple fair. Why is their loads said to be shining then? Their loads are said to be shining because it contains shining bangles inside. In the first two lines, that is, bangle sellers are we who bear a shining loads to the temple fair. In these first two lines, life of the poor bangle sellers carrying the loads of shining bangles is made very clear. By using the phrase shining load, the poet conveys the happiness of these bangle sellers despite the toil involved in their work. Again, we can say that their loads are shining, or it is shining loads, because the loads which they are carrying are the bundles of joys for the Indian women of different age group. Who will buy these delicate bright rainbow tinted circles of light? So the bangle sellers are asking, who will buy? Who are the people who are going to buy these delicate bright rainbow tinted circles of light? Delicate bright rainbow tinted circles of light. Rainbow tinted circles of light is used to describe the bangle. Here the bangle is compared as a rainbow tinted circle of light. A circle which is of rainbow shade and which is capable of rainbow tinted circle of light. That is which shines when the light passes through them. So, instead of describing it as bangle, the poetess used the term rainbow tinted circle of light. So, the poetic usage is metaphor. That is, the bangles are compared as an item, or it is compared with rainbow tinted circle of light. So, the poetic usage is metaphor. Without using as or like, the poet has compared the bangles as rainbow tinted circle of light. Lustrous tokens of radiant lives for happy daughters and happy wives. Then again, he is using another phrase to describe the bangle. He describes the bangle as lustrous tokens of radiant lives. They are the lustrous tokens. Lustrous means shining. Shining tokens. They are the shining symbols of radiant lives. Radiant meaning happy. That is, they are the shining symbols of those people who lead a very happy life. So, who are the people who lead happy and radiant lives? They are actually meant for, the bangles are meant for happy virgins and happy married women. In Indian culture, widows are forbidden to wear bangles. So bangle represent the happy and prosperous life of happy daughters and happy wives. So through this first stanza, the poet not only portrays the life of traditional Indian women, but also portrays the life of bangle sellers. The bangle sellers uses a joyful voice and presents his bangles as tokens of happiness. Heaviness of bangles. Instead of describing it to be heavy, he uses the term as shining loads, which is only reference made to the hardships of the bangle sellers. So thus, through this first stanza, the poet presents a very good picture of the folk life of India. So, dear students, what are the metaphors used in the first stanza to describe the bangles? Instead of using the term bangles, which are the other phrases the poet has used? That is, rainbow tinted circles of light and lustrous tokens of radiant lives. Instead of using the term bangle, the poet has also described it as rainbow tinted circles of light and lustrous tokens of radiant lives. So, this poetic usage or this poetic technique is what we call as metaphor, that is comparing an item with another with implied meaning without using the term as or like. So these two are the metaphors in the first stanza. Okay. So as mentioned before, the poem describes the types of bangles worn by the Indian women in the various phases of their life. And the phases of life mentioned includes their teenage or their maiden life, or the virgin life, then their bridal life, or the time when they are getting married, and then after that the motherly, or as a family leader. So let's see what's the type of bangle worn by the maidens of India. Some are made for a maiden's wrist, silver and blue as a mountain mist. Some are flashed like buds that dream on the tranquil brow of a woodland stream. Some are aglow with a bloom that cleaves to the limpid glory of newborn leaves. So, let's check out the color of bangles worn by the maidens of India. Some are made for the maiden's wrist, that is, some of the bangles are specially made for the maidens, for the young girls, for the unmarried young girls. And what are the color of those bangles? Silver and blue as a mountain mist. So, the color of bangles worn by the Indian maidens includes silver and blue color, just like the color of the mountain mist. Then again, some other bangles have got the color of, some are flushed like the buds that dream on the tranquil brow of the woodland stream. That is, some of the bangles are flushed, they have got the color like the buds that dream, just like the color of the flower buds. On the tranquil brow of the woodland stream, tranquil means in a quiet and calm area. Brow meaning on the top of a woodland stream near the forest river. So Sarojini Naidu again compares the bangles of the maidens. Some of the bangles have got the color of the buds that could be found shining, that grow on the top of the plants near the forest river. So first she compares the color of bangles worn by the maidens with the color of the mountain mist. Then she says that it has got the color of silver and blue. Then she says that again the color of the bangles worn by the maidens is the color of the buds that one could find growing near the woodland stream. Some are aglow with bloom that cleaves to the limpid glory of newborn leaves. Again, she makes another reference about the color of the bangles worn by the maidens. Some are aglow, meaning some have got the colors, with the bloom that cleaves. Bloom means flowers or the leaves that cleaves, that come out to the limpid glory of newborn leaves. Limpid glory meaning transparent or the shining happiness of the newborn leaves. Here, what the poet means is that some are aglow with the bloom that leaves. Some of the bangles have got the color of the bright flowers that adds more beauty to the newborn leaves. That adds more happiness or glory to the newborn leaves. So here the poet describes the freshness of the Indian women, the happiness or the freshness of the Indian girls, of the young Indian girls, is mentioned through these lines. So over here we find the poet using various beautiful imageries to describe the bangles for the maiden's wrist. For unmarried girls who are lost in dreams of happy marriage, they are the bangles of misty silver and blue, pink and green colors. The young unmarried girl is compared by the poet like a bud that dreams. That is, they are dreaming about their marriage. Just like a bud which dreams, similarly unmarried girls are compared the buds that dream. That is a comparison used by the poet to describe the dreaming girls. Now about the literary devices used in this stanza. Silver and blue as a mountain mist, some are flushed like the buds that dream. Here we find the poet using similes in order to compare the color of bangles. Silver and blue color of the bangles is compared with the mountain mist. Some are flushed like the buds that dream, and some are again compared. Some of the bangles have got the color, or some of the bangles colors are compared with the buds that dream. Here the poet has made the comparison by using the terms like as or like. So the poetic usage here is similes. That is, silver and blue color of the bangles is compared with the mountain mist, and some other flushed colors of the bangles is compared with the buds that dream. So the poetic usage over here is similes. Now entering to the third stanza, that is about the type of bangles worn by the brides of India. Some are like the fields of sunlit cone, meet for a bride on her bridal morn. Some like the flame of a marriage fire, or rich with the hue of a heart's desire, tinkling, luminous, tender and clear, like her bridal laughter and bridal tear. So, the poet is describing the type of bangles worn by the young brides of India. The color of bangles worn by the brides includes like the color of the sunlit cone, and some have got the color of the marriage fire, that is fiery red color, or the color of the cornfield, golden color of the cornfield. Some like the flame of a marriage fire, or rich with the hue of art's desire. So that is a color of bangles worn by the young girls or the young brides of India. So let's learn in detail. Chosen by some are like the fields of sunlit cone. Some of the like bangles the flame of worn by marriage fire. The brides of India, some of the bangles have got the color of the marriage fire, that is sunlit cone field, or rich fields of sunlit cone, that is golden color, or it is for the bride or bridal this red color, and it is the most best color, the desirable for the longing to be worn on the morning of a red color. Not only matches with the color of the marriage fire, but also it is the color of the heart's desire. Tinkling, luminous, tender and clear, and these bangles have got a tingling sound. It is luminous, it's shining, tender and clear, like her bridal laughter and bridal tear. So the color of the bangle and the sound emitted by the bangle is similar to her bridal laughter and her bridal tear. So brides on the day of the marriage is said to have bridal laughter and bridal tear. You know why the bridal laughter comes? Bridal laughter is because of her heart's desire getting fulfilled. She is going to get married, so she is happy on the eve of getting married. That is why we find bridal laughter. And why then bridal tear? It is because, as per the Indian custom, once the girl gets married, she is supposed to get separated from her parent. So she is weeping at the thought of going to get separated from her parents. This is the reason for the bridal tear. Now, about the poetic usage of this or the literary device used in this stanza. Some are like the sunlit cone made for the bride on her bridal morn. Here, a number of consonant sounds are found to be repeated, which I have underlined S and S. Some are like fields of sunlit cone made for a bride on her bridal moon. BB is repeated in the second line. Now moving to the third line. Some are like the flame of a marriage fire. FF is repeated. And moving to the fourth line. U of a heart's desire. H sound, his sound is repeated there. Then next line. Tingling, luminous, tender and clear. T sound is repeated. And last line, like a bridal laughter and bridal tear. B sound, bra sound is repeated there. Bridal. So, when the consonant sounds, when we find a close repetition of consonant sounds, usually at the beginning of the sentence, that figure of speech is what we call as alliteration. We call it as alliteration. Now, about the next literary device use. Some are like the fields of sunlit comb. Here the color of the bride's bangle is compared with the color of the sunlit comb, using the term like. Again, like the flame of the marriage fire, the color of a red color of the bangle is compared with the flame of the marriage fire. So, the literary device, we have already learned it. The literary device used here is simile. And why the bridal laughter and bridal tear comes? Bridal laughter is because she is going to have a happy married life ahead. And bridal tear is because of the reason that she is going to get separated from her parents. Dear students, if white and blue colors suit an Indian innocent maiden's wrist, and if the color of bangles preferred by the brides for the wedding is red and yellow, what's the color of bangle preferred by the married Indian women? We have one more phase remaining, that is the married Indian women. Happy married Indian women. So let's check out what's the color of bangles worn by the happy married Indian women. Some are purple and gold flecked grey, for she has journeyed through life midway, whose hands have cherished and whose love have blessed, and cradle fair sons on her faithful breast, and serves the household in fruitful pride, and worships the God at her husband's side. So the color of bangles worn by the Indian women. Some are purple and gold flecked grey. So color of bangles worn by the Indian married women are purple and gold flecked grey color. For she has journeyed through life midway. She has journeyed through life midway. Meaning is the middle-aged women who have lived half of their lives and other half remains. She has journeyed through life midway. She has already journeyed half of her life and still there is another half remaining. Whose hands have cherished, whose hands have blessed. By that time, through her hands, she was able to cherish and bless. Whose hands have cherished and whose hands have blessed. Cherished here means enjoyed and blessed here means blessing. That is, by the time she by able to enjoy bringing up her sons and blessing them, and cradle fair sons on her faithful breast. She was also able to rear or bring up her sons by feeding them, and serves a household in fruitful pride. Household here means family. She has served a family in a very proud manner and worships the God at her husband's side. That is a place of pride given in India to a woman after she has proved her worth as a daughter-in-law, wife and mother, and worships the God at her husband's side. That is, she is always given a position in the society once she becomes a daughter-in-law or a good wife and a good mother. For an Indian woman, rearing her sons, serving her family, and sharing the proud place of being by the side of her husband at religious rituals, fulfill the life of Indian wife and mother. So that is what the poet describes through these lines. So through the last stanza, what the poet means is that purple and gold fleck grey bangles are meant for the married woman who is middle-aged and whose hands has cared, loved, blessed and brought up her fair sons, and who has proudly served her family and as owner or consider it as a honor of sitting by her husband's side at religious ceremonies. Dear students, here the poet's presentation of Indian scene is a very orthodox one or an outdated one. Over here, man is a father, husband and son determines the life of woman, an image of the proud woman, rearing her fair sons, and her hard-earned place at the side of her husband's at the religious ritual is unacceptable in a times of feminist outlook. But that is the structure of this poem. Now about the rhyming scheme of the poem. Rhyming scheme is AA, BB, CC. So hope you have got an understanding about this poem. So we'll wind up our class here. Till we meet again. Goodbye.